This incredible category has been run by legends like Technical, Gizbro, and Luqualizer. To save a few seconds, you need to close the game 4 times. There is a 15-page document and hundreds of videos explaining skips and glitches for levels in this category. And so much other crazy stuff I'm having a hard time deciding for the clickbait in this video. This is the 5 Demons Speedrunning. Before we start, what is a demon? Anyone can upload a level to the Geometry Dash servers, but only the top echelon of quality get a star rating. If a rated level is considered to be very difficult, then it is labeled as a demon. Although there are more than 5,000 demon levels, there are only 150 that are short enough to be considered. In order to complete a run, you need to beat 5 demon levels. Our first runner, Ado, was actually just doing a challenge. He wanted to beat 5 demons, completely ignoring the speedrun aspect. For this reason, he chose the 5 easy demons of the Nightmare, the Lightning Road, Demon Mixed, Insomnia, and Platinum Adventure. Although slower, these levels are considered to be the easiest out of the demons. If you're wondering why anyone would intentionally choose slower levels, it's because of this thing called skill issue. If you added the level in menu time, you would get a 654, which is the first world record. Although he didn't know this when he uploaded the run in May of 2017, he would start the craziest competition in Geometry Dash speedrunning. Obviously picking these 5 demons was suboptimal, so let's talk about what the fastest time could actually be. Rapta will usually only rate a level if it's more than a minute long. He must have been pissed drunk when he rated these levels. But as we see later in the video, this might be a common hobby of his. These levels are absolutely crazy. They're less than 50 seconds long. With Hyper Fantasy being only 43 seconds long and Star Chaser being 47 seconds long, the most optimal time was a 4:12 after adding menu times. The attentive eyes might notice that 4:12 is way faster than the current world record of 6:54. This huge gap gave MathisJ the opportunity to get a 6:28. In this run he used exactly, drumrolls please, 0 of the 5 fastest demons. Apparently, MathisJ only wanted to get a footnote on the books of Geometry Dash 5 Demons history. He does this by changing Platinum Adventure to Speed Racer. Luckily for the plot, there would be another runner who would beat this record by a minute and 15 seconds only 2 months later. Indiv is an extremely skilled player. In early October of 2017, he would achieve a 5:12. Although he did not know it at the time, this run sparked a competition that would last for years. This run is also important because it is the first one where a medium demon was used. There are 5 tiers of difficulty for demons in Geometry Dash. While easy ones may just take a couple of hours of practice to beat consistently, extreme ones take weeks and even months for the best of players to beat once. By beating the medium demon, Indiv started the trend of using harder levels to save time. This run will be continued by his rival, a name you probably recognize from the leaderboards. This is Lexicon. Lexicon is a great speedrunner, known for holding the any percent record the longest. He would shatter Indiv's record with a 4:28, getting within 15 seconds of the hypothetical best. He would do so beating 4 mediums and a hard. This was a crazy difficult run, noting that deaths automatically discard a run. But Lexicon would follow this momentum with another record 6 days later. In that week, Lexicon would focus on finding the fastest demons, and on November 4th of 2017, he would shock the world with a complete remap on the route. Lexicon would use 4 out of the 5 fastest demons, only replacing Lightweight, an insane demon, with Prosperity, a medium demon. This change made the run suboptimal by only 6 seconds. In a matter of months, the gap between the record and the best possible time went from almost 3 minutes to 6 seconds. Something even more curious about this run is the description. In here, Lexicon states that a 4:17 is possible by skipping a speed changer. So how exactly do skips work? Well, Geometry Dash has speed changers. Every speed trigger has their own constant velocity. If by creator oversight, you're able to skip a slower speed changer, you get to the end of the level faster. In practice, it is much more difficult as you're playing a level at a higher speed than intended, and sometimes it makes it even humanly impossible. Lexicon would finish his hat trick on November 10, 2017 when he would get a 4:15.5. He would do so by replacing Prosperity with Partit Arigin. Although the run was great, the ending was completely wrong. This is what Lexicon said after finishing.
That's the lowest I think it's ever gonna go for me.
He did not know what was in store for him. Only 2 months later, Indiv would strike back with a half a second improvement. His strategy was to do everything Lexicon did, but at the lost skip, which saves half a second. Since there's a slower speed changer right here, a precise jump can make you skip it, landing barely after the spike since the creator of the level forgot to put hitboxes on the brick blocks. This was 12 days into 2018, and it would serve as the record that brought Lexicon back from the retirement not even himself believed in. Only 8 days later, Lexicon would strike back with the record that would stand for the longest time. Using all the humanly possible known skips and the 5 fastest non-insane demons, this was the run. These 4 minutes and 14 seconds were basically perfect. Lexicon saved a second by using a skip in Partit, where you skip a speed trigger by going into the upper part of the portal. This record wasn't perfect though. It would be in the comment section of this video that Speedcore would get the community's attention. Speedcore is only 42.5 seconds long and it's an insane demon easier than Lightwave. Implementing it would save around 5 seconds. The category had finally gotten to the point where insane demons would be necessary for progression. And insane demons need insane players, like our next runner, Technical. Tech was the best player of Geometry Dash at one point. For some, he's considered the GOAT, verifying Ocular Miracle, Ragnarok, and Zodiac. If anyone was up for the challenge, it was him. Despite this, nobody could expect the time he would post in August of 2018. It was not a 4:13, not a 4:10, but a 4:56. This was a gut punch to the record-beating efforts. If the best player in the world could not get close, who could? Well, the 19-month streak of Lexicon dominance had given Indiv an appetite for the record. After 3 days of attempts, Indiv came back with a bang. This 409.5 implemented the insane demon of Speedcore, saving 5 seconds. This event would spark interest in the category again. Less than a month later, in August of 2018, two great players, Gizbro and Luqualizer, would get in a call to race for the record. Luqualizer is known for verifying super probably level, and Gizbro was in a gang or something, I don't know. They had two major improvements they were implementing. First, they would use a skip in Lust that would save 3 seconds by skipping a slow trigger. By using the spacebar and mouse at the same time in a specific position, the speed changer could be avoided. The second time save is where it gets crazy, as Lightwave, a second insane demon, would be added to save 1.5 seconds. These two players were more than qualified for this, and it would be Gizbro who got the record first, setting a 4:05.5. This run had a huge mistake though, and even Gizbro acknowledges it.
I messed up one, I probably lost like 0.1 seconds.
Okay, maybe not a huge of a mistake, but this did allow Luqualizer to give Gizbro the shortest standing record, as only a few minutes later, he would finish his run. Luke would save half a second by doing the exact same run as Gizbro, but with better menus. This record would stand for the rest of 2019. And 2020. Apparently, not many people want to dedicate weeks of their lives for the hardest Geometry Dash category, or listen to the Hyper Fantasy song. Like listening to this song, it was hard to bear 16 months of failed attempts to get the record. Although unlike last time there was a recordless year, there would be some progress. 3 major events happened in 2020. In May, Error, a 42.3 easy demon was rated, making the run significantly easier and 2 seconds faster. Later in the month, a very handsome player would start running Geometry Dash, which is not significant to the story, but why not get to know each other? Finally, in July, Caution, a 41 second extreme demon was rated. Although this was the fastest level rated for 9 months, it would never see use in runs, as it was just too difficult to do, even for a 4-minute category. The year 2021 would start, and taking advantage of these time saves, Ryclix would submit a world record 12 days into January. By replacing the insane demon Lightwave with Error, the run was made 2 seconds faster and overall easier. Ryclix was also using a skip at the end of Error that saves 0.1 seconds, but surely that would not make a difference. Because of that 10th of a second skip, Ryclix took Luqualizer's record even with some pretty rough menuing. After this record, Ruptop would go nuts, raiding many levels that would help lower the record. Creo, a 42.6 second insane demon, would be raided less than a month later. This level is too noisy and too difficult for the minimal time save. Not to worry though, as in the following month, Ruptop would raid Balling and Speaku, which are 36 and 30 seconds long respectively. Being both relatively easy, these levels would make a huge difference. In the last year, the best possible time had gone from a 405 to a 339. To close the gap, a legend would come back 3 days after Speaku was raided. In early April, Lexicon would achieve a 344. He would do so by adding Speaku and Balling to the previous record. With the addition of these two, getting the record had become significantly easier. Unfortunately, Lexicon had unoptimal menus, which would be dismissible in any other category, but here, that was enough to make Ryclix start attempts again. In the month of April of 2021, Ryclix will finish a 342.6. Although this is not the last time the record was improved solely on menus, it certainly gets more interesting later on. Only a few days later, Ascending, a 31.4 second hard demon, and a 35.6 second medium demon would be rated. With all these ways of improvement, Luqualizer came back with a 332.9. Although impressing, I will not cover this run as Luqualizer doesn't settle for less than perfection, and he would show so 10 days later. Luqualizer achieved the best human possible time for a second time. It was the epitome of speedrunning. For a while, there was no way of beating this monstrosity, but in October of 2021, Cozy, a 39.5 second medium demon, would be raided. As if it was clockwork, Lexicon would take the opportunity to grind attempts and he would get a 320.00, missing sub 20 by a millisecond. And that is the fastest it's ever been done. In PC. Remember earlier in the video when I said mobile was faster?
Flashback.
Mobile is faster. The variance in menus at the top level is less than 2 seconds, but force quitting in iPhones could save 6 seconds. A level is counted as complete as soon as it hits the end trigger, after which a completion screen will appear. By closing the game as soon as the end trigger is hit and opening it again, the completion screen could be skipped. The time it takes to open the game makes this only viable in iOS and select Android devices. This allowed KirbyFan to reach the top of the leaderboards without using any new levels. Since it is such a big advantage, Maximum and the mods decided to separate mobile and PC into different categories. But there was a discovery earlier in 2022 that made that matchup not so unfair. If you're playing on windowed mode and you overload the game with resolution changes, the game freezes, stores your Y position but your character continues moving. Collision still works as regular, so you have to unlag if there are obstacles. Anyways, this trick saves almost 3 seconds on Speaku, if the anti-cheat doesn't kick you out. Other than playing the lottery, this record could be beat using always line, and using lag abuse to save 1.5 seconds. This category has been optimized to the brim, using crazy tricks. It has a very rich history, and I hope it reaches your future ahead. Thanks a lot for sticking around to the end of the video. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing and checking out my other videos. Have a nice year.